Good evening, guys. I know it's quite late, but जैसा कि आज सभी ने एनलेट 2020 का एग्ज़ाम दिया और काफ़ी बच्चों का क्वेरी आ रहा था कि सर क्या कट ऑफ होगा, क्या मार्क्स होगा, क्या एनालिसिस है आपका। और काफ़ी लोगों ने हमसे काफ़ी सवाल किए। मेरे पास कम से कम 50 to 70 प्लस पर्सनल मैसेजेस, ग्रुप में मैसेजेस, मेल्स, अदर कम्युनिकेशन के थ्रू लोगों ने कॉल किए, पूछे। तो इतनी रात को सोचा कि नहीं, बच्चों से बात करना बहुत ज़रूरी है। और चूँकि एनलैट काफ़ी ज़्यादा इफ़ेक्ट किया लोगों को अलग-अलग तरीके से। और चूँकि अभी 15 दिन है आपके क्लैट 2020 के लिए, तो हम नहीं चाहते हैं कि आपका क्लैट 2020 का तैयारी भी हैम्पर हो। सो मैंने पर्सनली रात में मोहित सर को कॉल किया और उनको जगाया कि मोहित सर, प्लीज़ हेल्प अस। और बच्चों के काफ़ी क्वेरीज हैं, काफ़ी सवाल हैं, प्लीज़ उनको रिजॉल्व किया जाए, क्योंकि इनलेट काफ़ी ज़्यादा एक इम्पॉर्टेंट रोल प्ले कर रहा है अभी आप सबके लिए। और हमने काफ़ी रिसर्च किया, काफ़ी एनालिसिस किया और पोल्स कराए, लोगों के रिस्पॉन्सेज देखे कि क्या स्कोर है, कैसा क्वेश्चन का पैटर्न है। तो हम बहुत छोटा सा एक अभी रखेंगे। तो मैं अभी मोहित सर ने शायद हमें ज्वाइन कर लिया है। मोहित सर।
Yes, sir. I'm here. So, if you can just share the PPT.
ज्वाइन। ओके। सो अभी मैं ज़्यादा लंबा चौड़ा तो नहीं इस पे अभी देना चाहूँगा कुछ भी। ओके, तो हमने एक छोटा सा प्रेजेंटेशन तैयार किया है इसके ऊपर कि कैसे क्या है। हम लोग अभी धीरे धीरे बातचीत भी करेंगे मोहित सर से। तो गाइस, अगर किसी को कोई क्वेश्चन डाउट आता है तो प्लीज़ थोड़ी देर बाद पूछिएगा, क्योंकि हम लोग ट्राई करेंगे कि इसे जल्दी समाप्त करें, काफ़ी रात हो चुका है। ओके, सो मोहित सर।
Yes.
मोहित सर, कैन यू हियर
Yes.
मी?
Yeah, I can hear you. So, hello, students. I hope all you're doing fine. Now, let me at the very outset make it extremely clear that even if your
मोहित सर,
examination
आपकी
has,
आवाज़ नहीं आ रही। हेलो।
okay, hello, hello, can you hear me?
गाइस, जस्ट वेट सेकेंड।
Yeah, I am audible. Yes.
ओके ओके ओके, यस 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 यस, ओके। सो फर्दर
Okay. Am I audible,
मोहित सर
guys?
विल, या you're audible. Okay,
Okay.
so Mohit,
Okay.
okay,
Yes. I'm starting. I'm starting.
okay, Mohit sir will explain this.
Yes. So I'm starting. So at the very outset, I'm making it extremely clear to all of you that even if your examination has not gone very good as per your expectation, please don't be disappointed. We have got two very important examinations coming ahead. So you don't have extreme amount of time to actually regret or remorse. What has actually happened. And you please don't judge your capabilities and capacity and the amount of hard work which you have put in from the outcome of this very examination. Now, the outcome of this examination is something which is dependent upon the outcome of the Supreme Court judgment. So, of course, there is a cloud of uncertainty which is hanging over our head. But amidst this, also, I think this was an important examination, an examination which you could through which you can basically analyze your performance and individually assess yourselves that how are you basically doing in the examination. Now, this session has been organized at this particular odd hour just to give you a sense of the nature of questions and what will be the expected cutoff, in my opinion. And I have also consulted a lot of people. What will be the cutoff in our opinion, right? The other academicians and the tutors who are associated with Lex Templum. So I think I should start, right? Should I start,
Yeah,
guys? Please? Yeah. Please mention in comment box. Okay. So starting with the analysis, we had three different passages as it was expected. Now we had one passage on jurisprudence, one passage on the Ayodhya case, and the last passage was on the reservation case. Now reservation was a topic something which we had anticipated. Ayodhya case is a very prominent case. But since it was a 1,000-page judgment, it was a political judgment, and it was a judgment which was so Herculean in nature. So that's why we anticipated that most probably it will not come, but they've asked it. And the first question directly came from the jurisprudence part. Now, this was something which was a bit unprecedented. The reason is because if you read the guidelines which they had mentioned in the syllabus section, they had clearly mentioned that the NLAT 2020 PG will comprise three passages that are extracts from Supreme Court judgments in prominent cases. So the first question, which is the jurisprudence question or the jurisprudence passage, that is not an extract from a Supreme Court judgment. So this is in a way a transgression or a deviation from the guideline which they had mentioned in the syllabus. So I don't know what was their intention of incorporating this very passage, but leaving it aside, just concentrating on the nature of the questions and the difficulty of the question. This was not a very difficult passage to actually go through. This was, if you check the difficulty level, it was something between easy to moderate. So this was not a very difficult passage. If you had gone through the passage properly and meticulously, you would have secured something between 8 to 10 marks or 6 to 9 marks. This is my own anticipation and prediction. Now coming to the Ayodhya case. Now Ayodhya case is a case which is a very important case, but it's a very Herculean judgment, a judgment which is over 1,000 pages and something which is generally not anticipated from students to read the entire case. Now, some of the questions, I think 60 to 70% of the questions which were asked in the Ayodhya case were not very difficult. Now, let me tell you, students, it is not possible for you to know all the questions which will be asked in the examination. At times, it can happen that the questions which are being asked in the examination, you are not aware of it. But at that point of time, probably you have to use skill, you have to use your logic to solve all the questions. So even if you have not read the Ayodhya judgment entirely and you know something in relation to the Ayodhya judgment, after going through the questions, I can tell you that you might have been able to solve something between 6 to 8 questions, because 2 or 3 questions were directly based on case laws. So I'm anticipating that a student who has not gone through the entire cases probably would not have known those individual case law questions which has been asked. So my anticipation will be that if you are scoring somewhere between 6 to 8 in the Ayodhya judgment, it's a good score. Now coming to the reservation part. Now the reservation passage was a 2011 or a 2012 judgment from a case. But the questions were general in nature. Some of the questions were based on journalising. Some of the questions were based on rudimental and fundamental understanding of reservation. 2 or 3 questions were asked from article itself. So it was not a very difficult passage, and as a result of which many students have done comprehensively well in this particular passage. So I hope this particular thing is clear to you. Now please, Akhilesh sir, if you can move to the next slide.
Yeah, we can. Okay.
Yeah. So if you ask us, and this is something which we are anticipating now, a lot of students have been requesting us to come up with this particular cutoff theme. So if you see the jurisprudence analysis, jurisprudence passage analysis, the average score, I'm speaking about average score in relation to the cutoff, because a lot of students have performed exceptionally well in the jurisprudence section. Now, that is the main reason because of which we are expecting that in the jurisprudence section, if a student has done exceptionally well, and if I'm speaking in relation to the students who might qualify the examination. So if you're scoring something between 8 to 10 questions in the jurisprudence passage, that's a very wonderful score. Even if you're scoring less than 8, then also it's a good attempt, but it was possible to score somewhere between 8 to 10 questions. And a lot of students have done that. So that is the reason because of which we are saying that the average score in relation to the cutoff. This is not the average score of all the students who have taken up the examination. We are saying the average score. एक ऐसा स्टूडेंट जो एग्जाम क्वालिफाई करेगा उसका एवरेज स्कोर कितना होना चाहिए. So it should be between 8 to 10 questions for the jurisprudence passage. Now we are coming to the second passage. The second passage is the Ayodhya case passage. Now, since we are anticipating, and we know that a lot of students might not have read the entire judgment, but still there were like 6 to 7 questions which were based on elemental and rudimental topics. So even if you have gone through a rough understanding of the case, you have listened to the TV debates and etc., or you have just followed the case, you would have been able to solve something from 6 to 8 questions. So if you are getting 6 questions out of 10 questions correct, it's a good score. And if you're scoring in the Ayodhya passage more than 8 questions, so if your 8 questions are correct, then that's a brilliant attempt in my opinion. Now coming to the reservation case, now the same logic applies to the reservation case also, because reservation case was not at all unexpected question. We had already anticipated it that we might get a question on reservation. And if you ask me individually, if you go through that individual extract which was produced by the NLAT, the entire questions were not based on that particular case itself. 50 to 60% of the questions were based on the fundamental understanding of the reservation topic. Two or three questions were based on the recent judgment. For example, the Jarnell Singh case and the etc. Some of the questions were based on your raw logic and the jurisprudential understanding, right? So keeping in mind all of these factors, it is actually very difficult to tell you the exact cutoff right now. But in my opinion, and what Lex Templum have received, what responses Lex Templum have received from all of you, there are a lot of students who have secured between 40 to 45. There are very limited number of students who have scored between 45 to 50, and I think there are a handful of students who have scored above 50.
Yeah, because we got that only one student till it.
Yeah.
So now,
So keeping into consideration all of these scores, in our opinion, the safe score will be anything above 43, and 48 is the maximum which we are expecting. So something between 43 to 48 will be a respectable score. Will be a respectable score, and that should be sufficient for you to qualify this examination. So if you
uh,
have got any additional questions, you can ask me. Any other questions, you can ask me, right?
Mohit, I just want to add something like,
Yes.
guys, people are asking like why we judge the cases on the easy to moderate. So जैसा कि हम नेक्स्ट टेम्पलम भी जो हम केसेस को क्वेश्चंस बनाते हैं, तो हमने उसी से जज किया कि हमारे क्वेश्चन से भी इनका लेवल काफी नीचे था कई केसेस कई क्वेश्चंस में, जैसे कि मोहित सर ने
Yeah.
डिस्कस भी किया आप लोग से कि अयोध्या केस में काफी लेमन क्वेश्चंस भी थे, 6-7 क्वेश्चन तो काफी लेमन थे.
So, Udita Singh asking, is this score inclusive of negative marking? Yes, Udita, that is between 43 to 48. So, we are taking into consideration the negative marking pattern. We have received marks. Now, one thing which I need to add, people, is that a lot of students have actually done malpractices. Now, that is something which we don't know. So, many students have told us that they are scoring something between 40 to 45 and above 45 also. So this particular consideration we are not taking into consideration because we are relying upon the scores which are being told to us by them. So we are presuming that whatever they are reporting to us is the honest scores, and they have not get involved in any malpractices. Now that is something which is dependent on the technical side, which we don't know. So for us, anything above 43 to 48, anything above 45, to be very honest, will be a very safe score. And if you're and then it is dependent upon luck, because we are going with a sample size of roughly around 200 to 300 students. But in my opinion, at least 1500 to 2000 students must have appeared in NLAT PG entrance examination. So basing upon that, any something between 43 to 48 is what we expect. Sir, is there any possibility that this case loss can also come in CLAT? See, Himanshi, that cannot be said. Definitely, there is a decent amount of possibility. The reason is that CLAT questions probably would have been set till now. Now, these are the questions which has been individually set up by National Law School Bangalore. I don't think so that that they must have consulted the CLAT consortium or the question making committee of CLAT consortium, but the chances are extremely less. Generally, there will be no overlap of such questions. Okay, guys?
So I
Okay.
hope so I hope this is all clear to all of you. Okay, so we are now signing off. So Mohit, thank you so much at this late night you joined us. And guys, be hopeful and all the best for CLAT 2020, and let's see what the result will say. Okay, good night to all. Thank you so much.